can type it down. Our topic now for today that I want to share with you is about what do you do when you have fear in you? What do you do when you fear the things around you or inside you? And I want to just make this very clear, first of all. Fear is something that is always inside, not outside. If you have no enemy in here, then you have no enemy outside as well. It's the same thing. You have to start with the man inside, and you have to face that fear from within. Two things that I would do when I find out or when I realize that I have fear of something. The first thing is I decide to face it. And the facing the fear is when you actually think to yourself, I'm not going to hide from this anymore. I'm going to go head on with it and see where it will end up. And when you face your fear, the second thing you need to do is be honest with yourself. When you are honest with yourself and you face your fear, it really helps to take that fear away. Because once you face it, it will no longer chase you. When you feel like you're being chased because of that fear, that you become a victim of it. Instead of running and trying to get away from it, face your fear with honesty and of course with courage as well. Face your fear with honesty and with courage, and know that if you don't face it, it will come running for you. In fact, what goes around comes around. So if you don't face it now, it will grow bigger and it will come for you the next time. Think about one thing that you have fear of right now. There are a couple of things, maybe more, but just one of those big fears you have. And what I want you to do is sit down and go through it and say, all right, Sam, all right, I'm not going to, keep running. I want to face this fear now. What am I going to do? What will I do? What will I say? What's the honest thing, place where I am right now? And how can I change that? So you start off by just being honest with yourself and saying, this is the thing I fear, and this is what I'm going to do. Because put yourself in a situation where you have no choice but to face it. And that's exactly what everyone should be doing. They're supposed to be facing their fears and being very honest. And also, you have to be courageous as well. The first fear you face is within your mind. You face that fear within yourself. Because if there's no enemy inside, then there's no enemy outside as well. The first enemy is always inside you. So don't try to fight it from the outside. Fight your fear from the inside. Take time to sit down and really honestly reflect upon what's happening in your life and why you are running. Because if you have fear in you or fear of something, you'll be running. You won't be walking. You won't be resting. There will be no peace in you. It's just going to be a rush feeling in you. So you want to settle down, sit down and say, what is this fear that I have? And just be honest with yourself. Where am I right now? And how can I solve this? And God's given us a very, very smart brain, a mind that thinks and comes up with solutions. There's a saying that goes, you are your own problem and you are your own solution. Yo, Blair Dead Biking, man, thanks for subscribing. I just joined what you're talking about. Talking about fear, man, and how we should face our fears. So, what's one fear that you have that you are running away from? The biggest one. Let's start with the biggest one. Okay, it can be can start with a small one. And just sit down and face it and say, what can I do about the situation? How be honest with yourself and say, what can I do right now to face this fear? Because when you face the fear, you got to face it with something that you already plan to do. And that's the first step you take. You plan to face that fear with something to do, to one action to take. What's the action you're going to take when you face that fear? Now be very honest, because when it comes down to it, you cannot just say it out, you have to do it as well. So it has to be actionable, and you have to be very honest where you are. Those two things I use when I face my fears. And one last thing, when you do face your fear, you'll realize that it wasn't a big deal after all. That if you had taken more time to run away from it and keep fearing, you would make it much more bigger than it is. It's a perception of reality. Fear. Faith is also a perception of reality. When you have faith, you see things that are going to happen right. They're going to come out well. Fear is the same thing. It's a perception. It's right in here. So take the time, sit down, really think about it. Be honest with yourself and say, what am I going to do about this fear? And take action. And after you do that, just like a smoke, it's going to disappear. Face your fears, and your fears will disappear. Thanks, guys. Until tomorrow, another time when I share another strategy to keep you going through the hard times and trials. This is FM signing out.